I want to ask you guys for closing arguments or statements in a moment. One last thought. Isn't it true that, Karen, this would be the beginning of what you would like to see? You'd like to see even more cameras. And isn't it true, Dan, that this is the beginning of what you would fear, which is even more cameras?
Yes.
No.
Yes, indeed.
I don't think I've ever said more cameras. I think what I said was I wanted to provide tools to aid law enforcement. And we believe this is one step. After the election, no matter what happens, Keep Columbia Safe is not going away. We want to continue to work with law enforcement to provide whatever we can to aid them. And it could come in a variety of ways. It could be discussions about neighborhood watch. We could have discussions about curfew. There are a number of things that we believe need to happen to keep our city safe. And so Keep Columbia Safe is going to be an ongoing entity after April the 6th.
Well, Keep Columbia Free will be as well. And there is necessarily a tension between safety and liberty. And I concede that living in society means that we do make compromises. We don't, any of us, have perfect and complete liberty. But those sacrifices that we make should be ones that are only based on careful and reasoned consideration. And in this case, it's not even a close call, because the science, the evidence is that these cameras will not help to reduce crime. They will not, other than anecdotal, there's no evidence these cameras will reduce crime or help solve crime. They will reduce our personal freedom and liberty.
That sounded like your closing statement, which I don't want to take away from you. But the question that was on there is one of your greatest fears that there will be more cameras if these are on there? Just yes or no? Is it one of your greatest concerns?
More government cameras. Inevitably, there will be more private cameras, but we do not have to accept our government instituting this kind of surveillance.
Before I give it to both of you guys for the closing, we'll let you take it first, Dan, since Karen started us off on the opening statement. Some of the cameras that were mentioned earlier on some of the city buildings, they are showing public property. We do have cameras on the new City Hall building that are shining straight out onto Broadway. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. Those are not focused on the public streets or sidewalks. I have that on the authority of members of the council.
Okay.
Well,
I thought I saw a
think
shout
that's a good
already.
question to ask. Yeah, I'd like to see
Okay,
it.
all right. Then closing statements, we'll start with Dan Viets, the ACLU.
Well, thanks again to the League and the Eagle for giving us this opportunity to talk to the people in our community about this important issue. But the bottom line here is, as I said just a moment ago, that when it comes to considering whether the trade-off here of liberty for security is a good trade-off, we have an absolutely empty pan on one side of the balance, and on the other side, we have a very definite and a very perceptible loss of personal liberty. The fact is that there are a great many people in downtown Columbia who do not want this measure to pass, and it's been misrepresented that the SBD, the Special Business District, voted unanimously for this. They didn't at all. There's been no vote downtown. The board of directors of that group did indeed vote for it. That's a very, very small number of people. I think the vast majority of people who live and work downtown do not want this measure passed. It will not reduce crime. It will not make anyone safer. It is at best a feel-good measure, and instead of feel-good measures, our government should be providing us with honest and straightforward, truthful information. And the truth is, these cameras are not going to help anyone.
Karen Taylor.
We know last June 6th, our world turned upside down when we got that phone call that Adam had been attacked. It was something we couldn't fathom. I grew up in Columbia. I raised my children here. Adam went to the University of Missouri and had been downtown by himself many times. It was a horrible, horrible incident, but it opened our eyes to the kinds of things that are happening in our city, and it made us realize that we needed to take a stand and try to do whatever we could to keep our community safe. There are lots of statistics about how cameras work, and all you have to do is read the newspaper or listen to the news on a daily basis to hear how cameras aided in the arrests of individuals that would otherwise not have been arrested. We've been endorsed by a number of organizations: the Columbia Chamber of Commerce, Crime Stoppers, the Professional Firefighters Association, the Columbia Police Association, and the Missouri Student Association. So those folks have taken a study of this issue and have come out publicly to endorse us. We know cameras work, which is why we and 3,000 other citizens signed the petition to create the ordinance for Proposition 1, which is on the April 6th ballot. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Taylor and Dan Viets, please give them a round of applause.